President Donald Trump says he is taking action to end legal immigration status for some Somalis in Minnesota. In a social media post tonight, the president says he is ending temporary protected status effective immediately. The post on Truth Social says Minnesota, under Governor Walz, is a hub of fraudulent money laundering activity and billions of dollars are missing. Temporary protected status is granted to foreign countries who meet requirements for things like ongoing wars and natural disasters that prevent citizens from returning home safely. The current protected status for the country of Somalia extends through March of next year. As of March of this year, 705 Somali nationals were covered by TPS in the entire country, according to U.S. Citizen and Immigration Services data. A 2023 fact sheet from the Immigrant Law Center said about 430 Somalis in Minnesota fall under that protection. The Council on American Islamic Relations says this change will cause some families to be separated in some cases.
What's happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. Now, you guys can probably already tell that it is going down. Just by that title alone, you guys are definitely going to want to check this one out. So we got that Congresswoman Ilhan Omar having a full-blown panic attack after learning that President Trump will now start deporting Somalis due to the massive fraud scandals that they've been taking part in, guys. I'm excited to get into this one, so I'm going to hop straight into it. All I ask that you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and without further ado, let's hop straight into it, folks. Check this one out.
Federal prosecutors say Minnesota is grappling with one of the biggest welfare fraud waves in U.S. history. And now counterterrorism officials warn some of that money very likely ended up in the pockets of Al-Shabaab, an Al-Qaeda-linked terror group operating out of Somalia. National correspondent Kayla Gaskins has the details from Washington.
Is the biggest funder of Al-Shabaab, the Al-Qaeda-linked terror group in Somalia, actually the Minnesota taxpayer? A federal investigator says yes. An alarming claim first reported by City Journal, which spoke with multiple former federal agents. The U.S. Attorney's Office has charged dozens of defendants across multiple schemes, including housing aid fraud, pandemic child nutrition fraud, and false billing for autism therapy. In total, prosecutors say these schemes have cost Minnesota taxpayers billions of dollars.
Still, there are people that have legitimately could use those resources that are not getting those resources. It's past criminal.
Minnesota is home to one of the country's largest Somali communities. Former state fraud investigator Keish Magan, himself a Somali American, wrote last year that it's uncomfortable and true that nearly all defendants in these major fraud cases come from that community.
They have taken advantage of the most generous country in the world and one of the most generous states in that country.
And according to City Journal, some of the stolen money was sent overseas through informal cash transfer networks. Investigators say once that cash arrived in Somalia, Al-Shabaab took a cut, whether the sender intended that or not.
Pretty much across the board, people that I spoke to said there really isn't a law enforcement solution to this problem. As you said, that's simply playing whack-a-mole. People pretty consistently told me that, there needs to be a policy change here.
All right, folks, so we can see President Donald Trump has had enough. He's finally drawn a line on these Somali immigrants that come to our country and then participate in these fraudulent schemes, all to send the money back over to their home country for it to end up in the hands of these terror groups. And now we got that Congresswoman Ilhan Omar rushing to the defense of Somalis, saying there's not a stitch of evidence that proves they are guilty. But there's been so many schemes.
Because if you believe in law and order, you understand that if a person commits a crime, they face justice. And that you don't put that crime on a whole community. What we also know is that there is not a single evidence that the president or his coonies have put forth that there are any single resource from taxpayers in Minnesota that has gone to aid and abet terrorism. That language is dangerous. That language puts the lives of Somalis not only in Minnesota, but across the country in danger. And if the president believed that, and he had evidence, he would take people to court. So we are sick and tired of the president waking up one day and deciding to put forth falsehoods and demonize whole communities, while the ignorant people that support him then take the lies that he's spreading and use it as a fact. We've seen it during the campaign where he said Asians were eating cats and dogs. We've seen his vice president repeat those lies. We've seen the media run it as a headline as if it was a fact. That is shameful. That is shameful. That is ignorant. It makes us look like a stupid nation that does not believe in truth but traffics in lies. Somalis are not terrorizing this nation. We are helping it thrive. Somalis have always seen themselves as a fabric of this nation. So not only are we not going anywhere, we are not going to allow anybody to make us feel less Minnesotan or less American.
Ilhan Omar is still wrapped up in her delusion. There's clearly a problem in the state of Minnesota where you're seeing billions of taxpayer dollars being fraudulently laundered over to other foreign countries and ultimately ended up in the hands of these foreign terror groups. There's clearly a problem. Ilhan Omar has lost her mind to say that Somalis are the fabric holding together this great nation. Give me a break. That's not the case whatsoever, especially if they're going to be getting over on America's systems like the way they are. And I want to give you guys a little perspective of what's going on, what the folks of Minnesota are seeing. This is a live footage shot from a graduation in the state of Minnesota. You would have thought this was a Muslim get together. Check this out.
There's so many Somalians in this. Oh God. Any place you walk, you see all of that. Everywhere.
I know you folks are sitting at home and probably thinking the same thing that I'm thinking here. This does not look like an American graduation in the state of Minnesota. This looks like a site straight out of somewhere in Somalia. It's been a full-on Somali invasion, a takeover in the state of Minnesota. But folks like Ilhan Omar says there is no problem. Well, there wouldn't be a problem if these folks just came over, assimilated, and respected American culture and our values, but they're coming over, they're not willing to assimilate, and they're taking advantage of American systems, trying to steal taxpayer dollars just to launder them back over to their country, their folks. They don't care about our country whatsoever. And I want to switch over to the reaction from Governor Tim Walz of the state of Minnesota, the once great state, and what he had to say on the Somali takeover.
We know Minnesota has the largest Somali population in the United States, with the last estimate by Minnesota Compass at more than 79,000 people. Callan Gray is working on this in the newsroom, and Callan, reaction is coming in fast tonight.
That's right. Just in the last hour, Governor Walz responding, saying, quote, "It is not surprising the president has chosen to broadly target an entire community. This is what he does to change the subject," end quote. Congressmember Ilhan Omar also pushing back, posted on X, quote, "I am a citizen and so are majority of Somalis in America. Good luck celebrating a policy change that really doesn't have much impact on the Somalis you love to hate. We are here to stay."
What kills me the most about these situations when massive fraud is discovered and it's called out and these folks are finally starting to be held accountable by President Donald Trump, these loonies on the left, like Governor Tim Walz, comes out and says that folks are being targeted because of their skin color, but that's not the case whatsoever. It's the folks that are committing these crimes. They have to be held accountable. We have to put a stop to it. We can't continue to allow America to be big old pushovers and folks to take advantage of our systems. We have to step in at some point in time. Now, we do have President Donald Trump's reaction. He also responds to Ilhan Omar.
I think she should be impeached. I think she's terrible. Is she originally from Somalia? Yes, sir. So how are they doing this? How's their government? Do they have a president? Do they have a council? Do they have anything? Do they have police? I love these people that come from a place with nothing, no anything, and then they tell us how to run our country. Now, I think if she got censured, that's great. If she got impeached, that's even better. They impeached me twice for nothing, and they impeached me knowing the Republicans are on my side, so they knew it was just. But they impeached me twice. She should be impeached, and it should happen fast too.
I'll tell you what, folks, that Ilhan Omar better make her next move her absolute best move, because President Trump is not mincing words, directly stating that he would love to see her either impeached or expelled from Congress as a direct result of her actions, because she has shown us exactly where her interest lies. It's not with American citizens, not with the folks that voted her in. She continuously puts us on the back burner and then puts Somalians first. She's shown us exactly how anti-American she is. Don't let her show us again. But you already know what happened next, guys. Protesters, Somali protesters gathered to protest President Donald Trump's latest move. You can't make this stuff up.
Carmel Mall was packed on the 4th floor with people from the Somali community and people coming out in support. On Friday, President Trump said that he would immediately terminate temporary deportation protections from Somalis living in Minnesota, blaming them for fraud in Minnesota.
We're not here by accident. We're here to stay forever.
There are currently 500 Somalis in Minnesota living with these protections and a total of 700 nationwide. Many expect this to be challenged in court, but in the meantime, Somalis here say they are fearful of what's to come.
People are always going to be fearful, but we're telling our people we're greater than our fear. We have resilience. We're people that are brave.
When temporary status is revoked, federal law states it can't take effect earlier than 60 days after publication of that notice, and it has to come from the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem.
What the president is doing is un-American. It's not Minnesotan.
Does not surprise me one bit that we're seeing Somalians now gathered and protesting President Donald Trump's latest order of deportation for these Somali immigrants. Now, get this, folks, something that really blew my mind. Muslims are actually not with Ilhan Omar, but against her, saying that she goes against their religion on the daily.
What do Muslims here in Minnesota think about Ilhan Omar?
Okay, so you gotta understand, this is somebody that uses Islam for a sort of political gain, you know? She advertises as a Muslim, you know, as a Muslim person that's helping the Muslim people in the community that she's representing. But we also see her upholding different views that are in conflict with core Islamic beliefs. Personally, and much of the community here would have that same agreement here.
What is she saying that you guys don't agree with?
Okay, first of all, when it comes to like LGBTQ people, we as Muslims don't believe any other person that's not any other person, no matter what they practice, should be held to a lower standard, should be given less respect. But in Islam, there's permissibility and there's not. We gotta keep in mind, you are not allowed to do certain acts, such as same-sex marriage, which she's in support for. You know, you gotta understand, same-sex marriage is incompatible with Islam. No matter how much you twist it, no matter how much you can beautify it, in every way, the final word was sent from God, and that outweighs whatever political opinion that you may have, whatever bias that you may have.
And she justifies same-sex marriage.
That's a big sense of disagreement that we have.
Yo, there we have it, guys. Oh my goodness, this is the type of stuff that I say you could not make up, even if we tried. Now coming to find out, Muslims in Minnesota don't even support Ilhan Omar, and it's because of the way that she plays with their religion. She twists and bends the rules of their religion in order to fit her situation or to recruit more folks aboard her campaign. That's just not appreciated by Muslims in Minnesota, and we can see that things are getting very sticky over there in the great state, or the once great state of Minnesota, as we're now seeing President Trump ending temporary protected status for migrants that came from Somalia, and that's a direct result of the massive fraud schemes and scandals that we've seen going down in these past few years. It's just unbelievable the things that they've been getting away with. Over $1 billion in taxpayer dollars going to Somalia, not to United States of America, not to tax-paying citizens, but over to Somalia, and somehow ended up in the hands of these foreign terror groups. This is unacceptable, and I hope to see President Donald Trump following through on his promise to end temporary protected status for these folks and also go after those illegals who are here in our country taking advantage of American systems. They're taking our kindness for weakness, and it's time for that to end, guys. But definitely hop in that comment section. Comments are open, and I'm excited to hear what you guys are thinking on this one. Also, make sure you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you did enjoy more content like this, we'll catch you guys on the next one.